The afternoon sun beat down mercilessly on the cracked asphalt of Lincoln Elementary's parking lot as 8-year-old Zara Williams clutched her backpack straps tightly. The school day had ended 20 minutes ago, and most kids had already been picked up by their parents or climbed aboard the yellow buses that rumbled away in clouds of diesel exhaust. Officer Rick Patterson sat in his patrol car, engine idling, watching the last few stragglers. He'd been assigned to the school zone for traffic duty, but lately, the department had him doing more community outreach, something about building bridges with the neighborhood. At 42, Patterson had been on the force for 15 years, working his way up from rookie beat cop to his current position. He prided himself on maintaining order and following protocol, though some of his colleagues whispered that he could be a bit too rigid in his thinking. Zara stood near the flagpole, checking her phone for what felt like the 100th time. Her mom had promised to pick her up today instead of having her ride the bus, but she was running late. Again. It wasn't unusual. Captain Sarah Williams often got held up at the base, dealing with training exercises or briefings that ran over schedule. Officer Patterson noticed the young girl standing alone and decided to approach. Community outreach, he reminded himself. This was exactly the kind of situation where he was supposed to step in and help. Hey there, kiddo, he called out, stepping out of his cruiser. His utility belt creaked as he walked over, radio crackling. With distant chatter from dispatch, "Where are your parents?" "School ended a while ago." Zara looked up at the tall officer, squinting against the sun. "My mom's coming. She's just running late from work." Hung. Patterson nodded, pulling out his notepad out of habit. "And where does your mom work? Maybe I can give her a call. Make sure everything's okay." "She's at Fort Bragg," Zara said, simply, adjusting her purple backpack. "She's in Special Forces." Officer Patterson's eyebrows shot up, and he couldn't suppress a chuckle. "Special Forces, huh?" "Right." He looked down at the small girl with her neat braids and cartoon character lunchbox. "Listen, sweetie, I know you don't want to get your mom in trouble, but I need you to tell me the truth. Where does she really work?" Zara's jaw tightened, a flash of anger crossing her young face. "I am telling the truth. My mom is Captain Sarah Williams, and she's in the Army Special Forces. She's probably in a briefing right now, which is why she's late." Captain Sarah Williams, Patterson repeated, writing nothing in his notepad. "In Special Forces." He shook his head with what he thought was a patient smile. "Honey, I've been a cop for 15 years. I know what Special Forces soldiers look like, and I know their families. Your mom probably works at the base, maybe in administration or the commissary, but Special Forces, come on now." The condescending tone made Zara's cheeks burn with frustration and embarrassment. She'd dealt with this before, people who looked at her and her mom and made assumptions about what they could or couldn't be. Usually, her mom was there to handle it with her calm, commanding presence. But today, Zara was on her own. "You don't believe me because we're black," she said quietly but with a steel in her voice that would have made her mother proud. Patterson's smile faltered. "Now that's not look. This isn't about race, okay? It's about being realistic. Special Forces is elite military. They don't just let anyone." He caught himself before finishing that sentence, realizing how it sounded. Don't let anyone what?" Zara challenged, stepping closer to the officer. Despite being barely 4 feet tall, she stood with her shoulders back and chin raised, mimicking the posture she'd seen her mother take countless times when facing down opposition. "I just meant." Patterson started, but was interrupted by the sound of a vehicle pulling into the parking lot. A dusty black pickup truck rolled to a stop near the flagpole. The engine shut off and the driver's door opened. Out stepped a woman in Army combat uniforms, her boots hitting the pavement with authority. Even from a distance, everything about her bearing screamed military precision. the way she moved, the set of her shoulders, the alertness in her eyes as she quickly assessed the situation. Captain Sarah Williams was 34 years old, 5'8", with the lean, muscular build of someone who maintained peak physical condition as a job requirement. Her uniform was crisp despite the long day, adorned with various patches and insignia that told the story of a distinguished military career. On her left sleeve, the Special Forces tab was clearly visible above the unit patch. Her dark skin gleamed with a light sheen of sweat, and her hair was pulled back in the regulation style that somehow still managed to frame her face perfectly. As she approached, Patterson found himself automatically straightening up. There was something in her walk, in the way she carried herself, that commanded respect. His eyes quickly scanned her uniform, taking in the details he'd missed from a distance. The Special Forces tab, the jump wings, the combat patch on her right shoulder, the rank insignia of a captain. Zara, baby, I'm sorry I'm late, Captain Williams said, her voice carrying the kind of authority that came from years of leading soldiers in high-stress situations. Training ran over, and then Colonel Martinez needed to brief us on the upcoming exercise. She turned to face Officer Patterson, and her expression became more formal. Officer, is there a problem here? Patterson felt his mouth go dry. This woman was clearly military, clearly high-ranking, and clearly exactly who her daughter had said she was. The uniform, the bearing, the confidence, everything about her screamed Special Forces. He glanced down at Zara, who was now standing, with her arms crossed, giving him a look that said, "I told you so," louder than words ever could. Patterson stammered, suddenly feeling very small despite being several inches taller than the captain. "I was just checking on your daughter, ma'am. She was waiting here alone, and when she told me about your job, I thought maybe she was making it up." Captain Williams finished, her tone ice cold. She'd heard this story before, too many times. "Let me guess, officer. You assumed that someone who looks like me couldn't possibly be in Special Forces. That maybe I work in the cafeteria or push papers in some administrative office." Patterson's face flushed red. "Ma'am, it wasn't about, I didn't assume, Didn't assume what, exactly?" Captain Williams stepped closer, and Patterson found himself taking an involuntary step backward. That a black woman could earn her place in one of the most elite units in the military. That I might have spent years proving myself, earning respect through competence and dedication. That I might have deployed multiple times, led soldiers in combat, and earned every single ribbon and patch on this uniform. The officer looked down at his feet, shame washing over him. "Ma'am, I apologize. I was wrong to doubt your daughter." "You weren't just wrong to doubt her," Captain Williams replied, her voice steady but with an edge that could cut steel. "You were wrong to let your preconceptions override your professionalism. My daughter told you the truth, and instead of believing her, you decided you knew better based on what exactly? The color of our skin? Your assumptions about what a Special Forces officer should look like?" Zara moved to stand beside her mother, reaching up to take her hand. Captain Williams squeezed gently, a small gesture of reassurance and solidarity. "Officer Patterson," she continued, reading his name tag. "I've spent my entire adult life serving this country. I've led missions in 3 different theaters, trained foreign military units, and mentored dozens of younger soldiers. I didn't do any of that for recognition or praise. I did it because it's my duty. But I'll be damned if I'm going to stand here and let you disrespect my daughter for telling the truth about who her mother is." Patterson nodded miserably. "Yes, ma'am. You're absolutely right, and I sincerely apologize to both of you. There's no excuse for my behavior." Captain Williams studied his face for a moment, looking for sincerity. Finding it, her expression softened slightly. "Officer, I'm not interested in getting you in trouble or filing a complaint. But I want you to remember this moment. The next time you encounter someone, child or adult, who tells you something that challenges your assumptions, maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe ask yourself whether your disbelief is based on facts or on prejudices you didn't even know you carried. Asterisk, she turned to her daughter. Ready to go home, soldier? Asterisk, Zara grinned up at her mom. Ready, Captain. Asterisk, as they walked toward the pickup truck, Captain Williams called back over her shoulder. Officer Patterson? Thank you for watching out for my daughter, even if your methods need some work. Community policing is important, but it only works when it's built on mutual respect. Asterisk, Patterson watched them drive away, Zara waving from the passenger seat. He stood in the empty parking lot for several minutes, reflecting on what had just happened and the lesson he'd learned. When he finally got back in his patrol car, he made a mental note to be more mindful in his interactions with the community, all members of the community. Asterisk, the next day, Officer Patterson made a point to research Special Forces, learning about the diversity of its members and the rigorous standards they all had to meet regardless of background. It was a small step, but an important one in his journey toward becoming the kind of police officer his community deserved. Asterisk, as for Zara and her mother,